The Miami Dolphins and their quarterback situation. It's been a story of stops and starts, of plugging holes and hoping for the best. Since Mike McDaniel took the wheel, this team's been dancing on the edge when it comes to backup quarterbacks. You saw it. 2 seasons back, Skylar Thompson had to start a playoff game. And last year, Tyler Huntley had to try and keep things afloat when it mattered most. Neither time did it end well for Miami. One season ended in Buffalo, heads hung low. The other didn't even make it to the postseason's front porch. Here's the thing that keeps coming back like a bad memory. The Dolphins are 3-7 in regular season games when Tua Tagovailoa isn't on the field. That's not a fluke. That's a pattern. And with Tua having played just 1 full season, it's a pattern that should have set off every alarm in the building. It's not just bad luck. It's structure. It's design. And that's where this offseason begins to get interesting. Miami just brought in Zach Wilson to serve as QB2. Sure, it's a move. It's something. But go watch the tape. It doesn't spark a lot of confidence. He's not the savior. Maybe not even the solution. He's a project, and not a finished one. So the real question becomes, is this really all the Dolphins are doing at quarterback? Is this the whole plan? Because if it is, then it feels like they're setting themselves up for another fall. The logic behind drafting a quarterback this year isn't hidden in layers of analysis. It's right in front of us. Miami needs more than 2 quarterbacks. That's not a luxury, it's a requirement. Last season saw 4 different guys take snaps at quarterback: Thompson, Huntley, Tua, and Tim Boyle. Boyle barely played, just 26 passes, but one of those moments came in a winnable game against the Colts, late in the 4th quarter. He had the ball, the shot to lead a comeback, and it fizzled. Another moment gone. And if the QB2 is this likely to play, then the QB3 isn't far behind. That's how Thompson found himself starting in the playoffs in 2022. Teddy Bridgewater went down, and suddenly the guy who was supposed to hold a clipboard is under center. That's the reality in Miami. Now, the more complex part is what this means long-term. This isn't a quarterback class full of sure things. If you're picking in the middle or back end of the first round, you're not grabbing the next superstar. You're grabbing a project or a reach. So don't expect Miami to pull something wild like Atlanta did with Michael Penix last year. That would be chaos. That would be desperation. That's not where this team is. The pressure on McDaniel and Chris Greer is real. Win now or else. So there's no way they're gambling a first-round pick on someone who's not even expected to see the field. But further down the board, on day 2 or 3, that's where the conversation opens up. That's where you start thinking strategically, about fit, about development, about cost. Backup quarterbacks aren't cheap anymore. Zach Wilson's deal gave him $6 million guaranteed. That's the kind of money you'd pay a fringe starter. Not ideal. It's time for a different approach. One that's less reactionary, more intentional. Thompson was supposed to be that approach back in 2022, a late-round swing at a developmental quarterback. But maybe the Dolphins went too low. Maybe this time, the investment needs to be a little higher. That doesn't mean going all in. It just means not going in blind, not rolling the dice, and hoping for the best. There are options in this draft, even outside the top tier. There are players who can come in, sit, learn, and grow into reliable safety nets, or maybe more. Take Jalen Milroe, for example. Alabama product. Raw but electric. Not a guaranteed first-rounder, though it wouldn't be shocking if someone grabbed him that early. If Miami's lucky, he might still be around at 48. Less likely, but worth keeping an eye on. He's a runner, maybe the best in this class. Think back to Lamar Jackson's draft year. Milroe's the closest we've seen since. He's got the arm, the experience against top-tier competition, and he's worked under more than one offensive system. He's not ready yet, not fully. But if you're talking about tools, about ceiling, he's the guy. You stash him as QB3. You build packages. Red zone wrinkles. Short yardage plays. Things Tua doesn't do. He's not just sitting on the bench. He's involved. That's more than you can say for most rookies not taken in the first round. And what about down the line? Milroe might end up being the most physically gifted quarterback Miami's had in years. He wouldn't have to be rushed. No immediate pressure. Just a steady climb. If the board breaks right, if he slips, This is the guy you keep tabs on. Now, if Milroe's out of reach, there are still paths forward. Will Howard from Ohio State is another option. Transferred in, solid frame, decent arm, experience in a pro-style setup. Not flashy, not headline-worthy, but there's potential. He's got some consistency issues, and the mechanics aren't perfect. But you're not asking for perfection. You're asking for stability, for floor that isn't sinking beneath your feet. Draft him on day 3. See what you've got. If he sticks, great. If not, no harm done. It's the kind of swing that doesn't wreck your roster construction. Then there's Riley Leonard from Notre Dame. Mobile, quick release, good understanding of a complex playbook. He's a little unpredictable under pressure, and he locks in on his first read a bit too often, but those are fixable. That's coachable. There's something there. Not for now, maybe not even next season, but give it time, and he could be a solid contributor.